Good day, everyone. Welcome back to Project Profit. As usual, the financial disclaimer still applies. I am not a financial expert or an advisor. I am a guy on YouTube with Project Profit, putting out his own recommendations and opinions, so please use your money as you see fit and do your own research. All right, with that out of the way, let's start with today's stock. It's the elephant in the room, everyone. Everybody's talking about it. I really don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it because it is the biggest, hottest stock on the market right now. This is Nvda. Nvda is driving AI, or AI is driving Nvda, whatever way you want to put it. But they have the hardware, they have the software, and they have the tools needed to help pretty much every company that is investing in AI. Microsoft, Google, Meta, anything you want to name, Tesla, they're all pulling from these companies that have the processors, that have the chips, that have the technology to help them with their AI. And Nvidia is one of those companies, and it is pretty much the company right now. And if you ever heard Grandpa say, invest in the barrels, not the oil, this is a prime example because the barrels are used by everybody. The barrels are going to haul the oil. The barrels are necessary, and this is a good example of what a stock can do when it is a leader in an industry that is emerging. So you can see by this chart that Nvidia has had one wild ride. They're up something along the lines of 900% in the last 2 years. They've just nowhere but up. And there's a lot of people that are dumping everything they own into Nvidia right now. And I don't like that feeling. It makes me feel like there's a lot more to lose than gain with Nvidia because of how much it's being hyped up. And we're going to take a look at the indicators here. You guys will figure it out pretty quickly that at Project Profit, we don't like a lot of fancy indicators. We use price action, we use moving averages, we look at the volume, and we assess what's going on with the stock right now with relation to what it's worth in the market. So it still has a decent valuation, especially when you're looking at other companies that are comparable like AMD. But again, there is really no comparison because Nvidia has grown so much. They just had a stock split, and they're still just going nowhere but up. We've had a little bit of a pullback here lately, but it's not even touching the 10-day moving average, which is insane. It's still far above where it was even just a few weeks ago. So we're actually on a 1-year chart right now using a 1-week bar, which gives us a really good sense of how strong it is. I don't like smaller time frames. I'm not doing minutes and hours here, people. We look at days, we look at weeks. And as you can see, the last couple weeks, there was a nice spike at the top of this where it retraced all the way back from 140.84 or 140.76 down to 133.38. And that's a good indication that there is some pressure there. There is some pressure pushing this stock back down. And now we have to kind of decide how far down is this stock going to go. We have a lot of different support levels. We have the 10-day moving average. We have the last dip that was all the way down around 89.30. And then below that, we have the 50-day moving average, which is all the way down at 69.85. So this is one of those stocks where, people don't want to wait anymore because Nvidia has gone so far up that they don't want to miss out. They got FOMO, they got the fear of missing out, and they want to buy now. And I'll be honest, it's not a bad time to buy because there is a dip going on, and any dip in Nvidia looks like it's just a prime reason to invest. And you can kind of see, the last couple dips after a few red weeks, then they would climb, and they would keep climbing, and then the few red weeks, and then they would climb again. So this is a pullback. It's not the biggest. It's not, it's nothing fancy, but it is a pretty good pullback for Nvidia. And, you could arguably put a few shares in here, but do not dump your life savings into Nvidia. And here's why. Because with an industry like AI, everybody is pretty much riding the fact that it's going to keep growing. They're riding the fact that everybody doesn't want to miss out. There's a lot of emotion in here. And it only takes one piece of news from the market or Nvidia to set this backwards or forwards, for that matter. It could rocket up. We don't know. And you can kind of see here at the bottom, this is the volume down here at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see these gray bars real well, but they are in a trend down too. The volume is dropping. And this is not just for Nvidia. You can look at the general market. Let's look at SPY here, and you can see the volume is going down. This is because there is uncertainty in the market and nobody wants to bet one way or another. Everybody's waiting to see what will happen next. So when it comes to a stock like Nvidia, especially a stock like Nvidia, because they're such a large part of the market now, you might as well call SPY Nvda, because they're the ones that are driving the market forward. And everybody's like, oh, the market's going up. No, it's a lot of it's just Nvidia stock dragging the market up. And to me, one stock, one company is not going to make this economy. It's not going to make the market. We got to be extremely careful of what we do with Nvidia. Now, I do have a position in Nvidia, but what I've been doing, and what I always kind of recommend is, buy a share in Nvidia if you don't want to miss out. Depending on what your budget is, buy a couple shares, but then wait a few weeks, and if it goes up and you're right, then great. If it breaks through this spike and it's still going higher, you can buy a few more shares. And at least you bought a couple shares down here and you got a decent deal, and you can ride that forward, ride it up. But if we do break resistance, if we do break the floor, and we go through the 10-day moving average, if we go through the next step, if there's some bad news that comes out from the market or Nvidia, that just presents a decent buying opportunity for the long run. Because the good news about Nvidia, you can buy at the wrong time, but you're probably not going to lose your lunch, because they have an extremely powerful moat around them. They have the CUDA software, they have their H100s, they have all sorts of amazing technology that they are in a very decent, very strong position to lead AI and to help the companies present AI to the market, which is great. So I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think this is the lowest or the highest it will go. I really do believe it'll be much more valuable next year. But we're not the ones that are going to put our eggs all in one basket. That is not what I'm gonna sprinkle some things in here. I'm gonna look at AMD, which has dropped off tremendously, but still is positioned well in this market. I'm gonna look at some other stocks that will also benefit from Nvidia and see where they go, and just see if I can diversify my assets a little bit. But all in all, it is a good buy right now, but I would not bet your life savings on it. Don't do the YOLO. Don't YOLO on Nvidia, because it's just asking for trouble. 1 minute you're AMD, you're going nowhere but north, and then all of a sudden you got a 30% drop, and you're wondering, what did I do? Is this a good idea? Because now it's been weeks and I'm still going down. So diversify your assets, look into it yourself, read about Nvidia, buy a couple shares, but don't buy the farm. Okay. So as always, like, subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here. I'm going to put a link to our site, Project Profit, down below, where you can read further about Nvidia and their competitive advantage and why they are a decent stock to buy. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.